Can you comment on your spat with Noam Chomsky? Your initial critique of him in The End of Faith? Do you stand by it? I'm a big fan, but I just don't get this. Well, I'm not aware of having a spat with him. He's actually taken a few shots at me online, but we've never met, and I'm not aware of him having read The End of Faith or having noticed what I've said about his politics. So to some degree, we could just be talking on parallel channels here. But I just think there is a kind of moral confusion expressed in his political writing which ignores intention as a basis upon which to evaluate certain human behavior. At the end of the day, he simply wants to use body count as the only metric to discuss the moral stature of two sides in a conflict. So if we kill a dozen children unintentionally, well, that's every bit as bad as doing it intentionally. Okay, that, I think, is a bad way to look at human conflict. I think the people who are intending to kill children are different than the people who are intending to kill the people who are killing children and are accidentally killing children in the process. It's a huge difference. You have to ask yourself, what kind of world does any group or society want to create? How do they want the world to be? And what would they do if they had all the power? And when you ask that question, you get very different answers for specific groups, no matter how much misery and death is happening on both sides of a conflict. And when you look at World War II, it was just a horrific wastage of human life. But the difference between the Allies and the Nazis was absolutely categorical. What sort of world did the Third Reich want to create? Okay? And what did we want to create on our side? We did horrible things. The firebombing of Dresden, the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Absolutely grotesque acts of violence, where hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people over the course of the war, died. But what sort of world were we trying to build? What were our intentions with respect to the Germans and the Japanese, really? Well, you saw our intentions, because after the war, we did not murder everyone. We helped rebuild their societies. So we're not perfect, but we were different from the Nazis. So you can't just look to body count merely to judge the rightness or wrongness of human behavior. And Chomsky seems to discount intentions across the board and only look at body count. And if you do that in any given instance, you come away with a perverse description of what's happening in the world. And you come away believing the kinds of things that people influenced by Chomsky tend to believe, whether it's Glenn Greenwald or any other person who's drunk this Kool-Aid. And you can end up saying things like, the United States is the greatest terrorist state in human history, right? Or some other such nonsense. There is a difference between the Dick Cheneys of the world and the al-Baghdadis of the world. And it is crucial that people on the left understand that. And as far as I can tell, Chomsky has been a source of pure moral confusion on this point. What is your